Brady vs. Mahomes, GOAT vs. future GOAT in the battle of the century, a rematch of the ages in what may be one of the best Super Bowl matchups of all time. And the question everyone is asking is who's going to win. Tom Brady is the best player in NFL history, and since 2001 he has dominated the NFL, winning Super Bowl after you get the point. After years of dominating the league, the Patriots fell short of a deep playoff run last year as they lost to the Titans in the wild card, following a pick six by the legend that pretty much ended the game. Following the loss, there were talks about Tom leaving the Patriots and potentially going elsewhere after 20 years in New England under Bill Belichick. Although there was speculation that Tom would just stay with the Patriots, he wanted to try something new, and him and good old Gronk, who came out of retirement, traveled down to Tampa Bay. Tom signed a 2-year contract for $50 million and was ready to win another Super Bowl. Before Tom went down to Tampa, the team had been led by Jameis Winston, who can throw the ball for nearly 5,000 yards, but also interception after interception. And because of that, the team has always won around 5 to 7 games in a division with teams like the Panthers and Falcons, who they should just destroy. But now with the GOAT under center, the team was able to use their talent on offense, with players like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronkowski, Fournette, and eventually AB, to create an offense that is really difficult to stop. Although the team struggled against teams like New Orleans and the Rams, they were able to make their way to 11-5 record and the playoffs after finishing the regular season 4-0, beating Atlanta twice, Detroit, and Minnesota. The playoffs are where the Bucs really started to do their own thing, and even though they struggled a bit with the football team, they were able to keep them off and won by a touchdown to advance to the divisional round against their worst enemy, the Saints. Throughout the season, the two had faced off against each other twice, with the first matchup in Week 1 being a shootout that the Saints were able to win by a touchdown. But the really interesting matchup was in Week 9 when they played against each other on Monday Night Football, and the Saints shredded the Bucs in Tampa 38-3. Following the matchup, the two were destined to cross paths again, and as you'd guess, they did in the divisional round as the two fought back and forth, but Tampa's defense was too much for Breeze, and his 3 interceptions lost the team the game as the Saints lost 30-20. The win over the Saints was massive for the Bucs, and made up for the 2 regular season losses, as they won when the game actually mattered. Following the win against the Saints, the Bucs had another rough matchup against the Packers at Lambeau, which you would think would be a much bigger advantage for Green Bay than it actually was, as Brady dominated in the cold. And in a back and forth between the two, the Bucs ended up winning following a defensive penalty for the Packers that gave the Bucs a trip back to Tampa. Funny enough, this is the first time ever that the Super Bowl is being played at the home team stadium, and it's going to be interesting to see. On the other side is a GOAT in the making in Patrick Mahomes, who has only been in the NFL since 2017, and really only played since 2018, but has done quite a bit since then. Back in 2017, Alex Smith was a starting quarterback, but after getting bounced out of the playoffs early, year after year, the team decided to let Mahomes take over the offense, and boy was that a good idea. In 2018, Mahomes led the Chiefs to a 12-4 record and won an MVP as the Chiefs made it to the playoffs and beat the Colts in the divisional round in order to advance to the conference title against the Patriots. A game that went into OT, but when the Patriots won the coin toss, the game was already over, as they drove down the field and scored a touchdown to win the conference and in turn demolished the Rams in the Super Bowl. The following year, in 2019, the Chiefs were eyeing a Super Bowl and played like it as they went 12-4 once again and played Houston in the divisional round. And although the game looked bad as the Texans were winning big early, the Chiefs turned it around and ended up winning big 51-31. After defeating the Texans, the Chiefs were once again in the championship game, but this time it was against the Titans. And the Chiefs were not about to lose another championship as they won 35-24 to secure a trip to the Super Bowl against the 49ers. The big game started off shaky for the Chiefs and looked like a loss from the get-go as the 49ers were up 10 with only 6 minutes left. But the Chiefs turned it around and won 31-20 to get their first Super Bowl in 50 years. Going into the season, the Chiefs' goal was to be back in the big game, and as you'd guess, they've had an insane regular season and went 14-2, with one of their losses coming in Week 17 as they rested their stars and lost to the Chargers as a result. With 1 seed secured, the Chiefs were matched up against the Browns, but there was just a minor issue. In the middle of the game, Mahomes got injured, and as a result, Chad Henne stepped in. Luckily, Henne was able to step up, and after some big plays, he secured the win for the Chiefs, and they advanced to the conference title for the 3rd time in a row against the Bills, who were on a hot streak after beating the Colts and Ravens to make the game. And as you would guess, it started off really close, but with Mahomes back, not 100% back, but back from injury, the Chiefs were able to win by 2 touchdowns and earned a trip to Tampa Bay. This truly is a battle of GOATs, and is looking to be one of the best games of all time, as it is the first time the two are, and probably will ever go up against each other on the biggest stage in all of football. Brady has much more experience, as this will be his 10th Super Bowl appearance in 21 seasons, making the big game almost a routine for him. On the other side is Mahomes, who has only been to one Super Bowl before the big game against Brady, but he has also played way less games and is only in his 3rd season as a starter. So in terms of experience in the Super Bowl, Brady is light years ahead of Mahomes, and honestly any other player in the Super Bowl era. So Brady gets the win and experience very easily. 1-0 Brady. If we look outside of the two quarterbacks, we have two great rosters, and quite literally, two of the best teams in the league. On one side is the defending champs and the Chiefs, who have practically the same roster as last year, and as a result are one of the toughest teams to go up against. Although they have struggled recently on defense, and instead of destroying the Browns, the game was extremely close, and practically won following a fumble in the end zone by restarter Higgins that could have sent the Browns into Super Bowl contention. But nonetheless, the Chiefs have a lot of talent in players like the Honey Badger and Chris Jones on the defensive side, but really their strength is on the offense, where the Chiefs have one of the best units with stars like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who are a very difficult tandem to stop. Now the Bucs are interesting and have always been a great team that has been let down by quarterback play. But now that Brady is in control, he's able to use the weapons to the fullest, from Mike Evans to Chris Godwin to Antonio Brown to Gronkowski to Fournette. The list goes on, and their defense is just as good, with a phenomenal linebacking core with Devin White and Levante David, making it difficult to do anything on offense against them. This matchup is extremely tough to determine, but based off the recent play, I would give the offensive play to the Chiefs barely and the edge on defense to the Bucs. Not only are the Bucs better on defense, but with the banged up Mahomes, I would give the Bucs the edge outside of quarterback play based on how they performed in the playoffs. So the Bucs and Brady get another point and are now up 2-0. So we've talked about the experience of each of the quarterbacks and the teams around them, but we haven't talked about the experience of those very teams. Now the Chiefs as a whole don't have much experience, as they've only played in 3 conference championships, but compared to the unit around Brady, who has only won 1 conference title for the most part, it seems like the Chiefs have the advantage. Now I know that players like Gronk and AB have more experience than players like Evans and Godwin, but as a whole the team has not played in the big stage outside of this season. On the other side, the Chiefs have been to the conference title 3 times and are in their 2nd straight Super Bowl, following a Super Bowl title, and in turn they know what it takes to win it all. And because of that, I would give them the advantage in terms of team experience, and as a result their first point, as now they're only down 2-1. Now the matchup you've all been waiting for, Mahomes versus Brady, and this is about as close as it gets. We have the GOAT versus the potential future GOAT going at it in the biggest game of the year. Brady is the best player in NFL history and has about as much experience as you can have, along with a great track record in this game that is really tough to beat. When you win most of the time, it takes tough competition to beat you in any circumstance. But the Chiefs are one of the best teams in NFL history, so I would say that they have what it takes. But this isn't as much Chiefs as it is asking the question, how well will Mahomes perform? And the question is interesting when you consider the last time the two faced each other in the playoffs was back in early 2019 in a conference title game that ended in a game-winning drive by Brady in OT. But it would be extremely foolish to say that Mahomes is the same player that he was 2 years ago. And when Brady beat him, it was his first conference championship game, and it was in overtime. And the Patriots won the coin toss, and as a result, he didn't have any chance to score in overtime. Since that game, Mahomes has won 2 straight conference titles and has been to 2 Super Bowls and is looking to prove himself on the big stage with a great team behind him. Brady is great and knows what it takes to win, but it seems like he'll be unlike any other player he's played in the Super Bowl, as evidenced in Week 12, when the Chiefs got to a huge lead and the Bucs offense fired back, but wasn't enough as they lost 27-24. And Mahomes put up points easy against the tough Bucs defense. Honestly, this is tough to predict as the Bucs are a much different team, and so is Brady. But based off how well each has played recently, especially a 3-pick game by Brady, I would give this to Mahomes and make the score an even 2-2. Home field advantage is something brand new to the Super Bowl, and is something that could be an interesting advantage for the Bucs, and provide some comfort for those who haven't played in the Super Bowl yet. This may seem like cherry picking, but home field advantage is important, especially a team who hasn't been to the Super Bowl in most of their entire careers. Am I saying that home field advantage will be as important as it would be pre-COVID? No, but nonetheless it will be helpful to the players who don't know what it takes to be champions, and as a result, I would give this to the Bucs and make it 3-2, favoring Brady and the Bucs over Mahomes. This game is going to be incredible, and although I have the advantage going to the Bucs, it doesn't mean that they are 100% going to win. I just believe that they are more likely to win with the circumstances, especially with a quarterback like Brady and home field advantage being really difficult to top. But I guess we'll just have to see if Mahomes and the Chiefs have what it takes to defeat the GOAT in his natural habitat.
Over win, man. That's all mindset, that's all heart, that's all fight. The way to stick together and fight. But like he said, over.
Thanks for watching the video. Comment down below your thoughts about the game and who you think will win. But anyways, I will see you guys soon, and peace out.